Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, today we try to understand some sentences on bribe. It's a shadow, a silent disease, a curse that corrupts not just individuals, but entire systems. We often hear about it, maybe even witness it, but do we truly grasp the depth of its destructive power? Let's take a closer look. He was accused of bribing a senior bank official. The government bribed the workers to be quiet. He was being investigated for receiving bribes. Families resort to begging or bribing by offering top-up fees. The former police colonel's lawyer said that no evidence had been provided to prove that his client received bribes. He says that he did not give one bribe. Criminals will just find the money to bribe these people. The court heard he was offered a bribe to say the plot was a hoax. Government must bribe or bully us into making different choices. Or corrupt practices involving the bribing of government officials? His critics said it was through accepting bribes. Those close to the robbers claim major bribes were given to police by those who got away with it. He is then heard plotting how he'll receive his bribe. When we took her to hospital, we had to bribe the doctors to treat her. Politics is still a matter of allegiances, bribes, and favors. Forget about its shameful fine for bribing Chinese doctors. New recruits signed up only because they knew that they would make money from bribes while on duty, he said. No one asked for a bribe. When the parties launch their election manifestos this week, the usual extravagant bribes and rewards will be missing. By November 1993, it was clear the alleged bribe was a complete fabrication. It is all part of the lavish bribes of peace. Want to bribe an official? He escaped at night by bribing a policeman. Witnesses in both trials said they were offered bribes not to testify. Many learned how to avoid getting arrested by simply bribing officials in the system. This goes beyond business workers who pay bribes. Are we soon to learn that referees are bribed for the inexplicable penalties that decide most rugby matches? People would rather bribe a police officer or a judge than go through the lengthy hassle of a trial. How could we have paid a bribe for votes 4 years after we had won the bid? That bribe should be over. Did you pay a bribe? She didn't take a bribe or do a favor for a friend. When the system already belongs to the elite, bribes are superfluous. Government must bribe them instead. Don't be the first to chase us about bribes when we did not bribe. We are not getting a bribe, we are being robbed. But it noted that about 30% of bribes paid were actually offered by citizens themselves. There is far less prize money, which means players may be easier to bribe. The joy of status is nature's bribe that tempts us into being useful. I offered the children a bribe for finishing their homework. The bribe amounts increased over the years as the Sinaloa cartel grew in size and power. But most of the jury thought that the USC admission and the scholarship weren't part of the bribe or the scheme. Those were the bribes Samantha helped sign off on that her uncle Gene procured. But his mother has died, left behind for lack of bribe money for a visa. Some of those bribes, prosecutors say, came in the form of envelopes stuffed with cash. That's led them to threats and bribes to try and goad people in, only to yield predictable outcomes. After refusing to pay the bribe, armed men put a hood over Hernandez's head and took him away in the back of a pickup truck. As with any new process or routine, your dog will need time, and lots of tasty bribes, to adjust to and accept getting their nails trimmed by you. While organized crime groups appear to have endless cash to pay for guns, bribes, and more, the government is on a tight budget. This particular trope about Biden and Ukraine and the bribe that wasn't is unlikely to die off swiftly. Manuel Chang is accused of pocketing at least $5 million in bribes. Creators are also all too eager to sell out their followers with hashtag ads that might in other venues be called bribes. The developments where the defendants allegedly sought bribes are in all 5 of the city's boroughs. Bystanders weighed in with similar accounts, saying many of them have had to pay bribes to avoid arrest. The case builds on the conviction last year of one of the Twitter insiders who took bribes from Saudi intelligence. Justice Clarence Thomas asked whether an official could resign for an afternoon, just long enough to take a bribe. In 1980, a member was expelled for seeking a bribe in exchange for tanking a piece of legislation. In turn, the official said, owners needed to pay bribes to supervisors, with amounts based on an orchard's size. Hood had worked for a subsidiary, Note Printing Australia, but rather than being found guilty of bribery, Hood was the one who notified authorities about the bribes. The company since has said the payment was a bribe, although Randazzo denies wrongdoing and hasn't been charged. Shockingly, 1 in 10 Amazon customers has been offered bribes, from gift cards to free products, in exchange for a 5-star review. The monopoly in turn provided a revenue stream for the bribes. Prosecutors said. Some of those bribes, prosecutors allege, came in the form of envelopes stuffed with cash, gold bars, and luxury vehicles. Recruiters have been accused of taking bribes and aiding draft-age men trying to leave the country to avoid military service. He has also been accused of accepting bribes in exchange for doing favors for the government of Qatar. He was later accused of accepting bribes and sentenced to more than 13 years in prison. Part of Xi's sweeping crackdown on corruption. The pipeline reopened only after the anonymous hackers received a $4.4 million bribe. The senator has also been accused of accepting bribes in exchange for doing favors for the government of Qatar. The phrase, popularized by Colombian drug lord Pablo Escobar, offers the grim choice of taking a bribe or being shot, a possible warning to prison staff. The politician was accused of accepting a large bribe from a wealthy businessman in exchange for favorable legislation. Investigators uncovered evidence of bribery involving several high-ranking government officials. The opposition party alleged that the ruling party had bribed voters to secure their victory. The corrupt politician was convicted of taking bribes from contractors to secure lucrative government contracts. Whistleblowers revealed a complex web of bribery and corruption within the politician's inner circle. The politician's reputation was tarnished by allegations of bribery and embezzlement. Leaked documents exposed a bribery scheme involving politicians and corporate leaders. Authorities arrested the politician for soliciting bribes from foreign investors. The politician denied accusations of bribery, claiming the donations were legitimate campaign contributions. The anti-corruption agency launched an investigation into suspected bribery and influence peddling within the government.
अस्सलामु अलैकुम ख़वातीन व हज़रात, मुअज़्ज़ज़ मेहमान, आज हम रिश्वत से मुताल्लिक़ चंद जुमलों को समझने की कोशिश करते हैं। ये एक साया है, एक खामोश बीमारी, एक लानत है जो न सिर्फ अफराद बल्कि पूरे निज़ाम को खराब कर देती है। हम अक्सर इसके बारे में सुनते हैं, शायद इसका मुशाहिदा भी करते हैं, लेकिन क्या हम वाकई इसकी तबाहकुन ताकत की गहराई को समझते हैं? बचपन से ही हमें ये सिखाया जाता रहा है कि रिश्वत एक लानत और हर एक के लिए, नुकसान दह है। इन पर बैंक के एक सीनियर अफसर को रिश्वत देने का इल्जाम था। हुकूमत ने कारकुनों को चुप रहने के लिए रिश्वत दी। इससे रिश्वत वसूल करने की तहकीकात की जा रही थी। खानदान टॉप अप फीस की पेशकश करके भी मांगने या रिश्वत देने का सहारा लेते हैं। साबिक पुलिस कर्नल के वकील ने कहा कि सबूत नहीं मिले ये साबित करने के लिए कि इसके मुवक्किल ने रिश्वत वसूल की थी। उसका कहना है कि उसने एक भी रिश्वत नहीं दी। मुजरिमों को सिर्फ उन लोगों को रिश्वत देने के पैसे मिलेंगे। अदालत ने सुना कि उसे ये कहने के लिए रिश्वत की पेशकश की गई कि ये प्लॉट एक धोखा था। हुकूमत को मुख्तलिफ